those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your support. Your subscriptions mean the world to me. If you're interested in subscribing to the channel and supporting it in that way, you can go to patreon.com and look at Anglegeist and choose a level of support there. And you can get free readings over there every day, a day early. The daily forecast goes up a day early over there. And there's also extra readings each month that are available to you depending on the level of subscription service that you choose. This is the monthly forecast for the sign of Aquarius for February of 2021. It is for anybody that has a sun, moon, or rising, or heavily placed planets in the sign of Aquarius. I would consider heavily placed planets 3 or more. That includes the smaller planets like, Chiron, Ceres, Lilith. If those things fall in the sign of Aquarius, coupled with a couple of the other planets, the bigger players, you may want to watch this because these energies may have an effect for you in February. We are in Aquarius season. So happy birthday to my Aquarians, you wonderful free thinkers, you collective loving souls. I have an Aquarius moon myself, so I connect in with you on that energy sometimes, certainly. Always thinking of the greater collective, maybe putting others before you. So let's see what's going on for the sign of Aquarius. Also, I should preface this, anything that I say here is broad spectrum, therefore it's meant to reach a lot of different people. Some of these cards may make sense, some of them may not. All of this has to do with your planets, the houses, all of that. So, take what you need and leave the rest. If things make sense, great. Use it to validate and support you. If things don't, that doesn't mean anything's wrong or bad. You just might be working on something different at this time. Always, when watching any of my videos, if you go out into your personal life and decide to make any decisions after having watched any of my videos, make sure that you use your own intelligence and intuition first and foremost. Never take anything that I say over that of a professional in their field, like a doctor, a lawyer, or, a therapist. Always listen to them first and foremost, and your own intelligence too. Okay, so let's see. For the guide card, I don't remember if I did guide cards last month. I can't remember, so I'm going to go back to doing them because I like them. So for the guide card for the air signs, I decided to use the Spirit Messages deck by John Holland, just because it called out to me from the little bookshelf right over Buddha's shoulder over there. So I feel like this is going to be Air's deck for this month, for February. So I'm shuffling for that card right now, and then we'll get into the tarot. What do my Aquarians need to know? All right, you are not alone. We are here for you. We never left. Through all the sadness and loneliness, however, you cannot sense us near you or feel how much we are sending you. We are your family, friends, and guides. You never walk alone. We walk right beside you. So the interesting thing that I like about this, obviously these are spirit messages, right? Coming from the other side. I kind of felt like that worked with the air element this month, or at least that's what I sort of, was not captured, but like captivated, compelled to do. That's a better word, compelled. What I like about this is I like the purity of the white candle. I like the embrace here. I think that my Aquarians might be feeling it a little bit. I just get this sort of sense of sadness with this card. There might be some loneliness going on for you guys right now. You guys might want to be with, say, your loved ones. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your loved ones that have passed. It could be your loved ones that are still embodied, that are still alive, that you maybe can't be around as freely as you would like at this time due to restrictions, right? We're still dealing with those restrictions. And so when I look at this, not only is this a message from, like, say, the other side or those that have gone before us and our own guides, but to me, there's like a light and a purity to this candle. I love that the memory, or sort of the mist or the ghost of this being here, whether in body or out, it could be the memory of those that we love that we miss. They're kind of embracing us, and the warmth is in the heart. It's touching our heart. So my Aquarians might be feeling a little bit forlorn during February. Maybe the restrictions or the isolation is kind of getting to us a little bit. Like I said, it is Aquarian season. Maybe you guys want to celebrate your birthdays with those that you love and you can't really come together with them. I feel like that might tug at you a little bit, but this candle to me speaks to the idea of staying pure in your intentions, finding the light that is within, allowing the fond memories and the love that you have to hopefully carry you through this time. If you are feeling a little bit lonely, reminding yourself that you're not alone, that these feelings that you have for the people either in body or out exist, and there really is a richness to those relationships that hopefully once all this stuff clears away, you can have an opportunity to reconnect with these people on a more physical, level. This sort of spirit here holding him, to me, it also indicates that I think some of my Aquarians might need just physical touch. You might be longing for that a little bit right now, or feeling the need for that. And it's kind of like the feeling that I get from this card is that maybe that's not coming anytime soon, but hold tight is sort of the message that I get here. Stay centered in, that appreciation, that gratitude that you have for the ones that you love, and know that they love you too, Aquarius. So, wait, I do not want to finish this stream. I don't know. You know what it is? Sorry, guys. I keep hitting this keypad. I did it this morning when I was filming tomorrow's forecast, and it keeps shutting me down. All right, so let's get into the tarot and see. I need to not hit this keypad. What do my Aquarians need to know for this month of February? Oh, great. The cats are outside fighting. The neighborhood cats have been having it's been like Thunderdome outside all day today. There's been like growling cats outside my window. They've decided to fight on the other side of the fence. It's ridiculous. All right, so let's get into this. The center card is the U card. This tells me a little bit about sort of where you're at during the month. You'll be going in and out of this card, but it gives me a little insight into kind of maybe potentially what the theme of the month could be for you, what you could also potentially be creating in the future. Because whatever we're doing in the now kind of also sets up our future. So this is the Nine of Pentacles. I love this card. It's a very independent card. I call this card Miss Independent usually. You see everything reflected here. I love that they include the traditional falcon, although the falcon's as big as the cat here. But the Nine of Pentacles is, Pentacles being earth, would be grounded, very much grounded. We want to ground in our energy this month. Our focus might be on our finances or bettering our life situation through material abundance and growth. I feel like this gives us an indication that it would be successful, or that at least the energy feels right for that. The focus feels right. The drive feels right. We may not be able to work on things that are more, let's say, interpersonal. So we're grounding and focusing ourselves towards maybe our finances or bettering our material world and those things. When I look at this, there is a solitariness to the Nine of Pentacles, right? She's always, in a traditional tarot deck, she's pictured standing in a field by herself. So it's like she has everything except for that partner, but I don't necessarily feel like the Nine of Pentacles needs that partner, right, as a card itself. But when I look at this, if you look at how this is depicted, this cat, which represents the Nine of Pentacles, look where he's looking. He's looking to this You Are Not Alone card. Do you guys see that? And to me, this feels like, yes, Aquarius can have what they want. They can work on creating it. They can be strong this month. But there's still this longing that I see in this cat as he looks to this You Are Not Alone. Some of my Aquarians may be missing somebody during this month. You might really be feeling that. Whether that person is in body or out of body, the love that's there is definitely reflected in this here. The memory of this person or people, the fondness you have for them, and the desire to be maybe back in their presence might be a little bit strong for you guys this month. So it might stir up a little bit of emotions. But I do like that the Nine of Pentacles is your center for the month. It feels like it's strong, it's grounded. There's a focus on positivity. We may not have everything we want, but we have a lot of what we want. We also have the skills and the attitude or the focus to get more of what it is we do want. So I do like this as your guys' center. Now, the next card is the Foundation. This tells me a bit about sort of why things are what from the past brought these cards into play, right? So why things are the way that they are today. This card can represent also as the memory from the past that can be holding things in place, if that makes sense, right? Or driving things in the now, right? The memory. Sometimes we act from memory, and we'll be acting off of the memories of the past, even though we're not aware of it. So let's look at this and see what this is. Oh, I love this. So this is the Ace of Swords. This is definitely Aquarian energy, right? Swords is the element of air, and that of the intellect, which is your wheelhouse, certainly. Ace of Swords to me is about clarity. It's about feeling centered. The focus was on you at one point in time. We're talking about in the past. This could be, I kind of get a feeling this is not the recent past for my Aquarians, only because there feels like there's a little bit of a forlornness between the Nine of Pentacles and this You Are Not Alone card. To me, this singular sword, there might have been a period at, say, the beginning of the pandemic where you felt strong. You're like, I can do this. Don't worry. We can get through this. We can be successful, be decisive, be clear, be in our truth, work forward towards that. We felt more empowered. I still think you feel empowered with the Nine of Pentacles as your center, but there's this sort of missing piece that this feels to me. Some of you who might be single, you might be desirous of a relationship at this time too. You might be feeling that sort of a vibe. I don't know. Whether or not you're willing to admit that to yourself could be an issue for my Aquarians. And part of the reason why I say that is I feel like there is this desire to be loved or to be held or to be cared for. But that sword in the bottom speaks to the idea of being honest and being truthful, but also there's a focus on the self. So it's sort of like I get this funny vibe that some of my Aquarians may not be necessarily able to have what it is that they want, so they can't be focused on that at this time. Does that make sense? And so the Nine of Pentacles says we work instead. We better ourselves through material pursuits. The Ace of Swords, to me speaking, there was a period of time in the past where we were much more clear. We felt much more centered. We felt much more in control, right? And so it's not that we don't have that at this time. It's just, how do I want to say this? It just doesn't feel, this You Are Not Alone has got me a little bit feeling like melancholy. And I almost don't feel the joy that I should get from the Nine of Pentacles, or that feeling of sort of satisfaction. To me, it feels like, yes, we have the things and we're grateful for them, but it doesn't feel fulfilling, if that makes sense. Let's get into the other cards and see what's going on. And I might be able to better connect all of this as to what I'm sort of connecting with here, if that makes sense. So the next card is your Spirit or Soul card. It is what is above you. It also tells me sort of where your spirit or soul wants you to focus during this month, what it wants you to look at. So this is the Queen of Wands. Wands would be all about desire. Queens are also about the element of cups or water. So when I think about this card, to me, this is about sort of aligning our emotions with our desire. The Queen of Wands is, she's called, I refer to her as the Beyonce card. She is sort of unabashedly herself. She makes no qualms, issues, or kind of restraints about who she is, right? She does what she needs first, and she takes action on that without any worry or trepidation, is how I perceive her, right? I also see the Queen of Wands as somebody that would be willing to sort of learn the rules just so she can bend them, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of how she is. And she won't necessarily do it to the detriment of others, but if she has to, she kind of will, right? So there's a little bit, there could be a slight manipulation or a slight selfishness to this Queen of Wands. When I see her in the spirit space, I like that it speaks to the idea of Aquarians putting themselves first, or really kind of channeling their most, what's the word? Demanding isn't the right word, but it's sort of like their most, I want to say selfish, like selfish self is this month. Does that make sense? And part of the reason why I'm saying that is because that Ace of Swords down there, that one on the ace, makes me feel like, even though that's from the past, the focus needs to be on the self during this month, even though we may not want to be. The Queen of Wands, her being wands, is that fire element and that desire element. So that also indicates a little bit of maybe wanting to be reconnected. Even here, we see like a space between this queen and the little black cat, right? So there might be somebody that we like or that we love, that we care deeply about, but we can't necessarily be with right now. But give it time. I don't feel like this card here, even though it is a little bit melancholy, it is saying you are not alone. Like, in other words, we will get to where we want to go. I also like that we have the Ace of Swords as the driving factor from the past, and we have the Queen of Wands in the spirit space. So we have swords and wands, which are complementary elements working together above and below us as we're sitting in this Nine of Pentacles, which to me is a very centered, strong, independent card. But I kind of get a feeling that the Queen of Wands maybe don't necessarily always, how do I want to say this? She doesn't want to keep that independence, if that makes sense. I feel like she may be desirous of connection also. But we have to sort of run our own magic, run our own skill set, figure out how to maybe, what's the word, like herald ourselves. Why am I struggling with this? It's not like it's struggling, but I'm trying to describe it in the right way. I feel like the focus here through these three cards to me is definitely about keeping it on ourselves, our own skill, and honoring that, right? Although I feel like you guys want to be connected to somebody else. And at this time, it's like, I don't think you can. And I think that it's like what we need to be working on right now during this month of February is connecting to ourselves and embracing that. The Queen of Wands would represent that. All of those sunflowers, all of that growth, all of that beauty, all of that sort of wonderful stuff up in that card up above is like trying to tell us, like, look at maybe falling in love with yourself this month, Aquarius. First and foremost, and letting that be sort of your clear guide and your defining sense of purpose. Also, that's the purity that we see here in the light. Even though the light may be small at this time, that's the purity that we see here in this candle. Allow that to be your guide, and it will lead you to not necessarily having to feel as though you're alone. You're not alone. You do have your guides. You do have those that have gone to the other side that love you. You also have those that love you here and that care about you here. But you have to sort of maybe understand that from the perspective of doing the work from within, so that you can understand the strength that you have, the beauty that you have, the capabilities that you have. To me, up in this soul space, that Queen of Wands speaks to this idea of kind of I don't know, like a certain type of magic that you guys have within you that when utilized in the correct way can be really dynamic and really amazing. And so embracing that and really channeling that, when we see this like clarity of this Ace of Swords in the bottom, like utilizing that period too from the past to bring ourselves into this state of really understanding what we're worth and appreciating that within ourselves. And I feel like, I don't know why, but when we get to that state, we will open up the floodgates in a way, and this too will shift, where we will end up having that physical connection or that ability to sort of be back where we want to be, but be seen in a different way because we view ourselves in a different way, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense. That's sort of like where I feel these cards are going. So I would say, ultimately, February is a month for my Aquarians to really look and take inventory and stock in themselves and find all of the attributes that are positive, because there are a lot with that Queen of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles all happening through the center of this spread. They're all working for us rather than against us, and they should be there showing us our worth and our strength and our capability. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from these. So I'm not sure if Aquarius has been able to see that all the way up until this point, if that makes sense. If you guys have been feeling disconnected, if you've been feeling in the down in the dumps, that might be part of the reason why, is that you need to sort of reconnect to this part of yourself that brings you that fulfillment. And then from there, you won't be longing for this. But when you no longer long for this, then all of a sudden it's able to come to you, if that makes sense. All right, so the next two cards are the outside influences. These are people, sometimes events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that could be affecting us during the month of February, either positively or negatively, and we just need to be aware of them. So what is the Ten of Wands? So this is Wands is fire energy, which is complementary to my Aquarian. So I'm not going to say that this is a bad card at all. I love this. And tens are about completions of chapters. There's something that my Aquarians need to let go of. That's what this would indicate. It's been a long, hard road to get to where we're at. That's this cat carrying all of these wands on his back. But at a certain point, we get to sort of relieve ourselves of the weight that we carry on our back. And that's the opportunity that I think that comes to us. This might be situational, right? There might be relationships, friendships, or things that we've been carrying that we no longer need to carry, and it's time to sort of release them or let them go. This might be the month to do that. This is a month of where I'm looking at these three cards through the center. This is a month where we need to honor ourselves first and foremost, and we need to honor our true feelings, right, around what's going on around things. Endings might be coming to some of us during this month through this 10 of Wands, where it's time to sort of close up one chapter so that we can move towards something new, something that suits us better, something that we're desirous of, because that would also be that fiery Wands energy, and also taking that action to move towards it. But we may have to let go of something to be able to move forward. And I kind of think that I also see that sort of message being mimicked in this, because it's like we're feeling the isolation, we're feeling the sadness, right? But what we really need to do is embrace into the strength that we see in the center within ourselves and allow that to be our guide this month. And then this could be the burden that we see of these wands that we're dropping off. Do you understand? And that we're not actually alone, because what we have within ourselves makes us stronger than anything we ever thought possible. Does that make sense? And so that kind of is the theme that I'm seeing here. Let's look at the other outside influence. Okay, so this is 5 of Pentacles. This is the kind of being left out in the card, left out in the cold card, right? We have this family of cats kind of walking in front of a church. It's very traditional depiction, except they put cats in place of it. 5s are always about change. And so when I look at this 5 of Pentacles and this 10 of Wands, I kind of get a feeling that outside situational stuff or energy is going to feel a little bit off. The reason, and I don't necessarily always get an off feeling with the 10 of Wands, but coupled with this 5 of Pentacles, to me, it feels like this is about a month of maybe transition where we need to decide what it is that we want, what it is that we don't want, what's serving us, what's not. There's going to be some stuff that's not serving us, certainly in that 5 of Pentacles. It's going to feel a little bit like, what's the word? Like, off-putting, I guess, would be a good idea. It's not going to be maybe the warmest reactions from people, or, you know, there could be struggles at work with money. It's just sort of a bit of a struggle card, right? But the truth is if we walk away from the struggle, that might be some of the 10 of Wands energy, is where we have to just let the burden off of our back and move to something that suits us more. Close up the chapters on the things that aren't serving us. I kind of feel like these two cards, excuse me, my phone's ringing in the background. I kind of feel like these two cards are working hand in hand this month. I don't always feel that. Usually they feel sort of more separate, like two separate influences. I kind of feel like some of these 5 of Pentacles experiences or situations could be people shutting us out. It's time for us to sort of pick up our sticks and go onward, or drop the sticks if that's the burden we're carrying, and move to something new, right? We have to do that. We have to find that answer within ourselves, right? I love that the clarity of this Ace of Swords is underneath us from the past. We have that ability to think clearly. We have that ability to be decisive. We have that ability to be honest with ourselves. So we have to do that. And I love that the 9 of Pentacles is in the center. So if the 9 of Pentacles is warring with the 5 of Pentacles, not that there's a war this month, but what I'm saying is if there's some downsides, to me, that 9 of Pentacles in your center says that my Aquarians will be stronger than whatever's thrown at them this month. But they're going to have to be decisive in what it is they choose to partake in, what it is they choose to allow to affect them, because you guys are already being affected at some level by the lack of connection you're receiving at this time. And I think that we regain that connection through the connection to ourselves, which we see so strongly running through these 3 different cards. So don't allow like the outside influences to kind of get under your skin this month. If they do, it's time to kind of really look at them and let them go. Make a strong, clear cut and just be deuces, I'm out, kind of. That's my feeling. All right, so the next card is the potential outcomes card. What I mean by this is it's all my, like, you know, the outcomes for my readings are always sort of potential in the sense that we have free will and we have free choice. So this kind of gives us a little indication of where things are naturally heading for the majority of the Aquarians, barring that nothing major changes, right? So we do have free will in this situation. If we see this outcome and we don't like it, we can utilize this outcome card as a warning and make choices to make changes to affect this outcome so it does not come to pass. But if we like the card and we like where it's heading, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally heading towards this outcome by month's end. So let's see what this is. Oh, I love it. So this is the Chariot. This is Cancerian energy right out of the gate. But what I love about this is about celebration, and this is about forward movement, right? This is about sort of moving through our emotions. I love that we have the Queen of Wands up here in the spirit space, right? And I said earlier, Queen represents cups. Wands, it represents fire and action and desire. Right? When I'm looking at that Queen aspect and I see the Chariot with the aspect of Cancer, and I believe it's Cancer, that would be emotions and that watery element that we have up in the spirit space and that Queen of Wands, right? The Chariot to me also correlates a little bit with the Wands in the sense that Wands is about taking action and the Chariot is about forward movement, right? So when I'm looking at the Chariot, as the month's end outcome, to me, it's going to be, because it's major arcana, it's a significant outcome from the experiences that we have this month, whether we see it in this month or maybe in the months to follow. We're ending out somehow, ideally, hopefully in a state of celebration, hopefully en route to something new, because that would indicate the Chariot too. Also, we see that in the Ten of Wands, even in the Five of Pentacles, that family of cats is moving away from their hard times ultimately through that change. Right? The clarity of the Ace of Swords also is what drives us in our decisions towards getting to something better, something more fulfilling. That's what the Queen of Wands wants. That's what our spirit wants. Our spirit wants us to acknowledge something from within that we have that we're maybe not seeing quite so much, or it's not being honored by the outside environment. So to me, the Chariot indicates that quite possibly my Aquarians could be like, well, deuces, I'm out. I'm moving to something new. I'm honoring myself first and foremost. When we look at this beautiful white cat here, he's riding in the Chariot. He's the one sort of, you know, it could indicate a homecoming even, right? Coming into a new situation, a new plan, a new change, whatever that is, wherever that looks like it might be for my Aquarians, by month's end, we'll be at least moving towards it, right? With I would say, a renewed sense of excitement, possibly even celebration. It could be that it might take, you know, a month or two to get there, because sometimes the Chariot, there's no indication as to how long it may or may not take. But I usually see the Chariot as sort of fast moving energy. It's like taking action, and not that we take action. Sometimes we can be carried by the Chariot, but we will be sort of clearly moving towards whatever that next chapter is. Whatever it is that Queen of Wands desires, whatever it is that Nine of Pentacles might feel as though it's missing in the center, right? So if my Aquarians have something that, you know, most everything is good, but there's that one piece that we want, the Queen of Wands is calling it out from our spirit space, right? She's kind of making us feel it. We're certainly feeling it here too. I think by the month's end, hopefully we're moving towards it in a much more profound, clear, intentional way. And I think that's why the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands they feel like they're working together in the sense that they're forcing my Aquarians to make these decisions, to position yourselves in a place that you're more deserving of. And that is probably all I needed to say. It's a long-winded way to get around to that, but that's kind of the theme of what I'm seeing in these cards. Now, for each one of you, it's going to be a different outcome of where you're trying to get yourself to. Some of you, it may be a relationship. Some of it may be out of a relationship. Some of it might be a better job. But whatever it is, whatever you're moving towards, whatever you're moving away from, we want to be conscious and aware of what we deserve. And that's sort of the focus that I see for my Aquarians for the month of February. I do think that there's an opportunity to see that this month and to really honor that. And when you honor that, that's also the magic of the Chariot, because he's set up in that Chariot being like honored, exalted, brought through town, right? Heralded, right? Like, wow, he really did a great job. That's sort of the energy of the Chariot. But it also moves us to a different standing in our life, a different perception of who we are, what we deserve. I get a sense when I look at this combination of cards, there's such strength and clarity within you right now that I feel like maybe you haven't felt like able to connect with. And I think that this is the month where that begins to shift for you through potentially adverse situations. But these adverse situations are going to actually create the change and the closing of chapters that you need, Aquarius, so that you can move forward gallantly, powerfully, significantly into the rest of this year. I hope that makes sense for you guys. Remember that you are not alone. Remember that you are loved. Remember that as much love as you guys have for the greater collective and for those around you, they have love for you too, even if they're not physically with you. I will be back in a little bit to do Gemini and then Libra. Hopefully I will get those done today, and tomorrow we will do I guess the water signs would be next after Aquarius. It would be Pisces. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please, give it hearts, leave a comment, leave a question if you feel so inclined. If you're watching this later on YouTube, once it goes live or once it fully uploads to YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button on any of my videos that you watch and enjoy. It greatly helps me in my algorithm. And I will see you guys next month for the March forecast for Aquarius. All right, take care, you guys, and have a wonderful birthday season. All right, bye-bye.